Hello, my friend. By now, I hope you are into the holiday season and enjoying your holidays. I know that my agency, we are taking a little bit of a break for a couple of weeks so that we can enjoy time with family and friends and just get energized and creative again and all of the things. That's always so important, I think, to slow down in order to speed up. And that's something that I've been really practicing lately is making sure like that slowing down piece in order to speed up and in order to create and do all of that stuff. Like you want to make sure that you have some time to relax and to get re-inspired and all of the above. So I hope you're on your way to do that. If you are not doing that and you're listening to this podcast episode, maybe you're doing both. Today, we're talking about marketing and selling through your podcast. I wanted to share some strategies to do this with you because I think there's so many untapped areas of podcasting and there's so much untapped potential that I think people just need to know. There's a huge and important role in the world of marketing when it comes to turning your podcast listeners into paying customers. And there's ways that you can do that, but it takes structure and it takes a strategy behind it in order to do it effectively. You want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing has this authentic piece to it. And yes, can be promotional in nature, but also feels like you, right? You want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, you're still staying in integrity with yourself and with your own values, okay? So I want to talk first about building a sales funnel. So we've talked about building a sales funnel on my podcast before, and I did a 4-part series with my friend Lisa, who took us through all the specifics and the nitty-gritty. But I want to talk a little bit about the process of using sales funnels if you're new, okay? I also want to talk about how it applies to podcasting. So when you create a sales funnel for anything that it is you're creating, I'm going to do this using an example, okay? So on Happiness Happens, which is my other podcast in case you're not familiar. So Happiness Happens, I have a free happiness guide. And what happens is when someone who is a listener of my show decides to click on that link and subscribe to get that free download, because there's a journal, there's all kinds of stuff in there, then they get added to my email list. And then from that email list, they are tagged properly so I can segment my list, right? So I can make sure that I know who is podcasting specific and who is Happiness Happens specific. And then they get added to my weekly email. And in that email is where the magic happens. That's where you're building connection with your audience. That is where you are sharing little love notes every single week with your podcast community. So when people come in through your podcast, subscribe through your free downloads, and get added to your email list where they then get nurtured within your community, that's powerful, okay? That is such an incredible way to build a partnership with your listener, to make them feel like they are part of something way bigger than just listening to your podcast. So there are so many different ways that you can create your sales funnel, and it is totally going to be dependent on which platform you use to do that, but I'm going to give you some examples. So the one that I'm using right now is called Go High Level, and I absolutely love it. I think it's an incredible platform, and I think there's so much capability there. But you can do this through any type of email marketing software. So you can do this through things like Kartra, MailerLite, ConvertKit, MailChimp, but I wouldn't recommend it, and ClickFunnels. All of those have the capability to build out your funnel so that you can get whatever it is to your listener. So what happens is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure you have a software or platform to do that on, okay? Then you're going to create a freebie, which is an opt-in, which is a guide for people to opt in, and in exchange to them subscribing for whatever it is that you're offering, they get added to your email list. Then what happens is you have a nurture sequence. So as soon as they access your freebie, your free guide, your free download, whatever it is, they get triggered automatically into an email sequence. And this is a nurture sequence, okay? So maybe your first email is sharing a little bit about who you are, what you do, here's your guide. Maybe the second one is a little bit more about your journey, how you got into what you're doing, so on, so on. Third one could be common questions that you receive, blah, blah, blah. There's so many different ways to create an email marketing nurture sequence. So I'm not going to give you all of the specifics today, but I think it's really important to highlight that you want to make sure that whatever emails you're sending out are creating and establishing a relationship with your audience, okay? So that's the first thing there. So that's the first thing, is to build that sales funnel, build a mechanism in so that you can start to capture the people who are listening on the outside and bring them into your world, bring them into your space. Okay. The next thing that I want to talk about is those engaging call to actions. I've talked about them a couple episodes ago, but I think that they're really powerful because having a well-crafted call to action is key in your podcast growth. The mistake that a lot of creators make, and also I do this sometimes too, is putting too many call to actions in your podcast. If there's something specific that you want them to do, be clear. If you want them to only buy your book, they're only buying your book. If you want them to review the show, they're reviewing the show. If you want them to download your free guide, direct them to download your free guide. If you want them to book a call with you, direct them to book a call. So make sure you have all of the links available in your show notes below so that people can access your links very easily and they don't have to go searching for it, and so on, so on. This can be the difference between having a paid customer or not, or selling something that you're offering or not. It works the same way as what we were talking about in the last episode with these affiliate links, with these programs that we're selling and all that, or even paid ads. Having a clear call to action will help your listener understand exactly what next step you want them to take, okay? And the last piece that we're going to talk about here is community building and upselling. So you want to make sure that you're creating that loyal community around your podcast. You can do that through a Discord group, or you can do that through a membership. You can do that through a Facebook group. You can do it through a survey. You can do it on social media. You can do it on the subscribed feature on social media. You can do it on Threads. Whatever it is that you want to do, wherever it is you want to build your community, be intentional. Put the time in to serve your community, and they will continue to serve you. There's so much potential to take your community and to upsell within your community. So let's say you have a Facebook group, for example, and that Facebook group is for all podcast creators ever, okay? And they come in through your podcast and they join your Facebook group. They get your free downloads, they get your free guides, they're on your email list. Great. And now they're in your Facebook group, okay? So when they're in your Facebook group, the power that this has here is you create the content that goes into that group. You're creating what the audience gets to experience. And that is so, so, so powerful. Okay. I think that that is so key because you can do webinars in there. You can do masterclasses in there. You can do free challenges in there. You can sell programs in there. You can do anything that you want in your community. And you can also continue to upsell if you want to. So this becomes really cool and really crucial because people who may have found you through your podcast are now deeply embedded into your community web, which is really cool and really powerful and allows people to continue to take that next step with you. So I'm curious today, which strategy are you going to take away the most? What are you going to implement for your podcast? And how are you going to take these elements and level them up just one notch? Thank you for joining me on today's podcast episode. Be sure to subscribe and share this with a creator that you know needs to hear this content and hear this message. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always find me on social media. All of the links to everything you need are in the show notes below. So thank you so much for tuning into today's conversation, and I will see you on the next one.